So, we hear about AI changing pretty much everything, right? But what about the massive, complex systems that actually run our countries? What happens when you smash the incredible power of AI into the slow, rule-based world of government?
You know, the potential here is just massive. We're not just talking about better chatbots. Imagine AI agents that can process your entire permit application or manage citizen services from start to finish. And not in weeks, but in minutes. This is about fundamentally rewiring the public sector.
But, and this is a big but, there's a catch. Government is built for stability, not for speed. Its whole structure, all the hierarchies and rules, it just wasn't designed for a technology that can learn and act all on its own. And that creates a huge oversight problem.
Now, before we get too deep, let's be really clear about where we're getting this info. We're diving into a fascinating academic paper from 2025 that focuses specifically on the German public sector. They interviewed a handful of civil servants working on AI. So this gives us this incredible, detailed peek inside one government's struggles. But remember, it's a specific case study, it's not a global rule.
Okay, so what is this technology that could be such a game changer? What really makes these new AI systems so different from what we've seen before?
We're talking about something called Agentic AI systems. Yeah, it's a bit of a mouthful, but think of them less like a simple tool and more like an AI project manager. They can take on really complex, multi-step jobs all by themselves, learning as they go, using different digital tools, and actually reasoning through problems.
And here's the funny thing, the irony of it all. Government bureaucracy, it's almost the perfect training ground for this kind of AI. Why? Well, because so much of the work is already documented down to the last detail, it follows really predictable patterns, and it's super repetitive. For an AI designed to learn and automate, that's basically a dream come true.
But of course, you can't just unleash a powerful AI inside a government agency and, hope for the best. The research we're looking at points to 5 major hurdles that have to be cleared before anyone can do this safely.
Let's walk through them real quick. First, just getting it implemented is a coordination nightmare across all these different departments. Then you've got visibility. How do you know what the AI is actually doing second by second? You also need serious evaluation to test it before it ever goes live. Then there's security against totally new kinds of threats. And finally, auditing. How in the world do you audit an AI to make sure it's following the rules? Each one of these is a beast of a challenge.
So if these problems are so obvious, why are they so tough to solve?
Well, the answer is baked into the very DNA of public administration. It's this fundamental clash between brand new tech and really old structures.
See, most government is built on what sociologists call a Weberian model. The easiest way to picture it is like an old office building with super thick walls between every department. Responsibilities are totally siloed, everything is a strict hierarchy, and it all runs on formal, written-down processes. It's built for being stable and clear, not for being fast and integrated.
And that old model has huge consequences for how they handle tech right now. The civil servants they interviewed described a system that's pretty revealing. Oversight is event-triggered. It only kicks in at specific moments, like a project approval. It's legally motivated, meaning they only do it if a law specifically says they have to. It's siloed, handled by separate teams. And get this, it's often adversarial. The tech teams and the compliance teams basically see each other as opponents.
And that right there is the heart of the problem. The old way of doing things, isolated teams, one-off approvals, and this adversarial process, it's the exact opposite of what these new AI agents need. They need integrated teams, continuous oversight, and collaboration. The gap between where they are and where they need to be is just enormous.
So this brings us to the really cool part of the research, a proposal for a totally new way to think about governance. It's about shifting away from those isolated silos and towards something much more integrated.
The billion-dollar question, then, is how do you actually bridge that gap? How do you rewire a whole bureaucracy for the age of AI?
Okay, this image from the paper shows the whole idea perfectly. Look over here on the left, that's the old model. See how governance, those little green boxes, is its own separate pillar? A single department that's responsible for all the rules. But now, look at the right. In the new model, governance isn't a separate department anymore. It's a centrally coordinated function that's spread out, distributed across every single team. It becomes part of everybody's job, with experts in the middle providing guidance. So, how do we make that happen? What are the big takeaways for any government or big organization trying to get this right? Well, it really boils down to 3 fundamental shifts. First, oversight can't be a one-time thing. It has to be continuous, always on. Second, you need new skills. The people on the front lines actually using these tools need to be trained to help oversee them. And third, that interdepartmental coordination, it's not optional anymore. Those walls, those silos, they have to come down. And that leads to 3 really practical design principles for building the actual oversight tools. 1, you have to design them for everybody, the hardcore tech experts and the subject matter experts who know the actual work. 2, you have to co-design these things with the non-technical staff. Their input is absolutely critical. And 3, you got to be realistic. Any new AI system has to be built to play nice with all the messy, older legacy tech that's already there.
All of this brings us to the final, really critical question. This isn't just about buying new software. This is about changing the fundamental operating system of public administration. Is our government actually ready to change its own DNA to make way for AI?
That is a huge question, and what we've talked about today is really just the beginning of the conversation. So what do you think? What's the single biggest hurdle for getting AI right in your country's public sector? Let us know down in the comments. Here at VibeDoc, we break down the big forces shaping our world. And if you enjoyed this explainer, do us a favor and subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss what's next. Thanks for watching.